Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Welcome. Greetings, family, peace, family. Welcome to another edition of the Narrator Podcast. The Narrator Podcast is the home of original people. The Narrator Podcast is the home of original people peace, original people reciprocity, and original positivity. And I am your host, Halsey Allen. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. So, already this is going to be a super late one. This is a weekend edition, a full edition of the Narrative Podcast. Like, I never specified what day, but it's looking like it's going to be a Sunday edition, because it's like late Saturday that I'm recording right now. So I meant to do an upload earlier in the evening, so I meant to have it uploaded by 5-6. But not even gonna lie, I was chillaxing, I was binge watching some stuff, and some time got away from me. But you know, I'm trying to get back on track. That's what happens when you take a step away from it. You kind of like lose your regimen. But yeah, so I'm slowly making my way back on these podcast streets. Took some time off, connecting with family, had family business, you know. But other than that, still doing pretty good. It looks like my following's growing and people are checking me out, and you know, getting a little buzzing around. But anyway, welcome to the platform. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. Narrative Podcast, like I said, is the home of original people. And, you know, my mission statement is basically to uplift and edify original people and original people culture. And when I say original people, I mean our people, the original people of this physical plane, black people, Negro, African American, whatever you want to moniker, you want to refer to us as, but, you know, original people. So that's, you know, my mission statement for this podcast is just to, you know, uplift and edify our people and provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And I think that is a perfect segue to my podcast tagline, which is the Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original people culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes about our people and our culture? By providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Hence the name, the Narrative Podcast. So this is a weekend edition. Yesterday was the weekday edition, but didn't get uploaded till, you know, Saturday earlier on this afternoon. So I had started recording late Friday evening, like, you know, I'm doing it late Saturday. So this one will be uploaded probably, you know, on Sunday, because we're just half an hour from midnight where I'm at. So, but anyway, welcome to the platform. And what I tend to do, how I usually start this thing off before diving into the content, I give you a brief overview of the Narrator Podcast and everything you need to know about it. um, before listening to it, or to make your listening experience better, so you're caught up with the platform and everything that it's about. So first off, let's start at the name Top Tippy. I named my podcast the Narrator Podcast because I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original people culture. So I wanted to do to counter that is design a platform where, I'm uplifting and edifying our people by providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture to counter the negative frames of reference about our people and our culture that the media circulates about us. So that's the primary function is to stereotype us and stigmatize us. So that's what I wanted to do. This is why I exist in this space, is to, remedy that and just remind people, our people and people outside of our culture, who we are. And who are we? We are kings and queens, gods and goddesses of this universe, and don't you ever forget it. But anyway, welcome to the Narrator Podcast. Some more things you should know about this podcast. First of all, I call my listening audience my narrators. And I call them my narrators because it's a reflective nod to the times that we're living in. We're living in the digital media age. And, what we're doing online is basically telling or narrating our own life stories. Online, you can be whomever you want to be. Online, people put out the best representation of themselves as possible. And that should be our goal as a people, is to put out the best representation of ourselves as possible, because the media, they only supply people with negative frames of reference when it comes to our people and our culture. So all people outside of our culture can go off on, if they've never been around us, is just the frames of reference they're provided by the media, the music, the movies, the television, the literature, negatively depicting our images and our likenesses. So they don't know the real deal. They only know, what they, see in movies, what they see on television, what they hear over the airwaves in music, what they see in advertisements, how we're depicted in advertisements. And, that's how they're programmed and conditioned to respond, to react to us. That's their, all the frames of reference that they're given about our people and our culture are negative ones. So, that's why I exist, to, bring awareness to why it's important to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, and, encourage the listening audience to do the same as well. But I think I veered off pudding because I think, and I'm still not, covering my bases as to why I call my listening audience my narrators. So yeah, basically, like I said, we live in a digital information age. Every digital media platform has a bio section, where you give a brief little synopsis about your hobbies, your interests, your turn-ons, your turn-offs. You're just painting a vivid picture of yourself to the rest of the world, and people go off, you know, judge you and interact with you based on the type of content that you're putting out online. You're telling or narrating your own story. And typically, most sane, rational people don't put out, that woe is me energy. They don't put out negative things about themselves. They may in instances exaggerate about how well they're doing in life, how much money they have, how traveled and cultured and refined they are, but they're telling a positive story. Posting positive pictures, positive self-talk. They got the most money. They live an extravagant lifestyle. They're doing well in life, whatever platform that they occupy. And, over-exaggeration is just a lie. You shouldn't lie on social media, but then you also shouldn't, be putting out woe is me energy and negativity and, oh, pray for me, y'all, and stuff like that. But, what I'm basically saying is most people use, social media to tell a positive story about themselves. And we are currently not telling positive stories about ourselves. We're telling negative stories about ourselves. It seems like online we're embracing these negative stereotypes and stigmas that the media places over us. We're embracing gangbang culture. We're embracing, criminalistic culture, like committing crimes, drive-bys, breaking the entry, selling and using drugs, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, pimp culture, whore culture, thought culture. Like, we're celebrating all these negative stereotypes and stigmas that the media places over us by sharing stories that are reflective of those lifestyles. So you see, in essence, what we need to be doing is responsibly monitoring and utilizing our platforms to put out the best versions of ourselves. So we should be, telling or narrating our own stories. Because if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this: if you do not tell your own story, you will have your story told for you. So basically, when I call my target listening audience my narrators, I'm basically saying, we have the power to tell our own stories. So that's what I'm doing on this space. I'm telling our story, one episode at a time. And as a narrator, you can tell our story, one social media post at a time. So I'm not here to be, the social media police. We're all grown adults. You can post whatever content you're interested in. You can post whatever content piques your interest. Whatever you're interested in, whatever is appealing to you. That's your business. It's your platform. You can post whatever you like. But just know that everything that you post, people are watching that. People are watching that. People are judging you. People are judging us as a whole because of the type of content that you're posting. The type of content that you're creating. If you have a visual platform like a YouTube channel or a TikTok. or if you're like actually doing, got a streaming service and you're actually like doing full on productions. People are gauging us as a people based on your projects. If you're, what I'm saying, even if you're like doing skits, just be aware of that and just know that and try to put out the best possible, version of yourself in everything you do on digital media. That's all I'm saying. So that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators. Some more misnomers you need to be aware about about my platform before I dive into the content this evening or this morning by the time it gets uploaded. It's a time sensitive platform. I try to utilize my time wisely. I try to keep it short and brief and to the point. I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. Primary reason is it's an audio platform and I don't want to bore my listening audience to sleep. And I don't want to go down rabbit holes. I don't want it to be a glorified rant. I want it to have sustenance to it and entertain and inform at the same time. And basically, I don't want to talk in circles and just, not really have a speaking point. I don't want to just, ramble and rant. I want it to be streamlined, easy to follow, digestible content that you can get something out of and apply into your everyday, comings and goings and navigating through life. Basically, I want my content to be a tool and a reference tool about our people and our culture. So that's why I try to keep it short and sweet. I don't want to beat you over the head with the message. I just want to deliver the message. Next order of business, the Narrator podcast is a positive platform. I don't engage in anything negative. I'm solely here to uplift and edify our people, bring awareness to our plight, and put out the correct frame of reference about our people and our culture, and just keep everything, super positive. Super positive is basically a safe space and an alternative for people to partake in, to get a break from the garbage that's floating around online, the gossiping, the negativity, the name calling, the slandering, the messiness, and just this is a place where I'm celebrating our accomplishments and, promoting positive self-talk, positive images, and all things positive as it concerns our people. Because, like I said, the media constantly bombards us with negativity. And when they do that, it's basically like psychological warfare. They're trying to, for us, for our people, they're trying to, introduce negativity to our psyches. And then we'll, act out on that programming on a subconscious level when we commit crimes and do negative things and, act out these negative stereotypes that they place over it, such as being lazy, being overly aggressive, being angry all the time, being criminalistic, amoral, and, that whole thing. So, and just overall, generally unpleasant to be around. So, that's why I'm doing this, and that's my takeaway. I want my listening audience to get from this content, if nothing else, you know, is a positive frames of reference. Um, like I said, I don't engage, supports, or endorse gossip. Gossip is destroying our people. We should be uplifting and edifying each other at all times. I'm not saying we should be in total agreement with one another at all times. We can disagree. We can civilly disagree. We don't have to get along. It's like impossible to get along with everybody. That's humanly impossible to just like everybody you come in contact with. So it should be no different within our culture. If you don't like somebody, stay away from them. But what you don't have to do is, drag them all over social media. Be nasty to them on social media and all that. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do the name calling. Just, if you don't like somebody, just stay away from them and, no comment and, let that be the reason. So basically what I'm trying to do here is just basically, be the voice of reason for our people and just, try to straighten the mess out. So that's why I don't do any gossip, slander. As a matter of fact, if I ever bring up a famous person's name, it's just to solidify my underlying point that I'm making about our people, which is, the why. Yes, we have, violence in our community. Yes, we have degeneracy in our community. Yes, we have our in-house issues that we need to work on, as all communities do. But the difference between our community and every other person's community is like when we do something wrong, it's highly publicized. Anything. We have one little slip, it's all over the news, it's all over social media. Whereas any other group, they do something wrong. People typically, depending on what community they hail from and the severity of what they did, they'll forget it within a week. People will stop talking about it within a week. Whereas somebody from our community, they literally milk it till the cows come home. They ride it till the wheels fall off. We can't live down bad moments. We're always being caught in ultra rare form, and I don't want to be the space to, contribute to that. But that's like primarily, like I said, if I ever say a famous person's name, I'm not trying to get clicks and views and likes and all that. I'm simply just trying to unpack it, whatever happened to them, in a way that, we can tether it back or, trace it back to why that particular situation, that negative situation that they were involved in happened, and why it usually happens. At the core of it, when you dig through and sift through, you see, the systemic programming and the conditioning. It's like almost like 80% of everything that happens, all the crime in our community, all the degeneracy, everything negative happens in our community. Like almost like 90% of it, Goes back to systemic programming and condition, because we're programmed and conditioned to act out that way, to behave that way, to interact and react to one another in that way. Yes, we're grown adults. We need to be held accountable for our own actions, but we can't just not acknowledge the systemic programming and conditioning. We can't never say that's not a factor when something foul happens in our community. Another thing you should know about this platform, I refer to our people as original people. I refer to our people as original people for a few reasons. One, that we were and are the original people of this planet. So I do it, for a historical frame of reference, just to put it into perspective who we are as a people historically, and then also to unify our people. Now, so on the historical side of it, I just want it to be known that everything we do, everything started from us. We was here thousands of years before every single person on the planet. Before anything was, we were. We were here first. The original beings. The original man. And so when we say man, it's implied that we also mean man too. But we were here first. And contrary to all unpopular belief, being the first people here, we didn't evolve from monkeys. We weren't dwelling in caves, grunting, dragging our knuckles on the floor. That wasn't us. From the beginning, we've been highly civilized, highly advanced beings, capable of highly intellectual feats. We pretty much built everything. We pretty much invented everything. We were and are the original beings of this planet. That's why I refer to our people as original people on the historical side of it. And having said that, I want to tack on the subpoint, as I do in all, my breakdowns of my podcast. Being here first means we inhabited the entire world, like everywhere, all 7 continents. The 7 continents, right? Being original, we was on every single last one of them. We didn't get to all them other places on slave boats, especially here in the Americas. That's a false narrative that keeps on getting perpetuated in history. While, chattel slavery happened, like the transatlantic slave trade did happen, it's exaggerated about how long it went on, parties involved, and pretty much everything surrounding it. But the biggest just slap in the face is how they try to symbiotically attach slavery to our existence. Like that was the most definitive moment of our existence. Like that was the most pivotal part of our history. And really it was so minor and minuscule. It like I said, we was here first. We was kings and queens. We ruled empires. Yeah, slavery did happen. It was unfortunate. It was disgusting. It was barbaric. But that's not that's not the major turning point of our existence. But yet, they always try to throw that in our face. Yet they always try to say, exaggerate about our role that we played in slavery. They want to tell lies. They even got, black content creators naming black slavers. I've seen, videos, and, I'm just like in my head, where are you guys getting your information? That's not even the real story, But I don't like arguing with people, so I let people believe what they want to believe. As far as our involvement in the slave trade, it was more like, we had indentured servants. So we had prisoners of war and indentured servants. And so eventually they got to go free at some point. We didn't just keep people whole generations of people, like breeding women and keeping the kids until they get grown. And none of that went on. We didn't beat them like from sun up to sundown. It was just like, okay, we waged war on another tribe, took some prisoners, and they served their purpose, and then after a time period they was allowed to go. But yet in history, we participated in the slave trade and we had slaves. Like, knock it off. As far as us in America, like less than 60% of us came over here on slave boats. We were the original indigenous people of this land. We are the original natives of this land, not the people that own the casinos and living on reservations. They're not, their descendants aren't the real deal. They're not, they aren't the real ones that were born here. Like, most of their descendants are $5 Indians. Yeah. White people were allowed to claim Native American lineage at the turn of the century for $5 measly. And so, like, all them people sitting on them tribal councils, most of them descend from white people. Like, it's just facts on facts on facts upon facts that we were the original people of this land. Here in America, any Spanish-speaking nation, we was already there too. All throughout the continent of Asia. That's why many circles in our community, they refer to our people as Asiatic. All original indigenous people, like, were fairly dark-skinned. And that's just what it is. Like, there's no such thing as an Afro anything. There's no such thing as an Afro Latino. There's no such thing as an Afro Cuban or Afro, whatever. There's no such thing as Afro Asians. or Blasians. They call them Blasians. There's no such thing as that. Like, the dark-skinned people was just like the original people, you know, that already lived there. Anything lighter complected was due to colonization. But yeah, that's why I got a little long-winded, but that's essentially why I refer to our people as original people. Second reason why I refer to our people as original people is, you know, to unify us as a people. Because like I said, being here first and being the original inhabitants of all these different land masses, you know, we're all scattered out. We all believe in different things. We all identify as different things. But the one thing we have in common, we were all here first. We all possess high concentrations of carbon, aka melanin, and we can all trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for civilization. Now, that point of origin is debatable, but you know, we all hail from that. Probably one thing I skipped over about why the media is so hell-bent on you know, making our people look as bad as possible. The media does this because they're ran by the powers that be. Who are the powers that be? The powers that be are upper society, elite society, aka wealthy white people. And they use the media to cement their status in society. You know, they are the extremely rich, the extremely powerful, but, you know, their power is false power. They only feel important because of their financial wealth and the financial wealth status symbols that they surround themselves with. And basically they want to promote mass consumerism and promote life in excess and equate true happiness and true abundance with, you know, being super rich. And they want the whole world to, you know, think that as well. And they want to have, you know, be in this exclusive little club where, you know, you have to be in their tax bracket and you have to be white. Like, they basically want to form their own little members only club. And they want to keep the riffraff out. And who is the riffraff? The riffraff is anybody who isn't wealthy and earning six figures or better and who isn't white. They want to be the face of refinement, sophistication, intelligence, class, you know, decorum, dignity, elegance. So to attain that, they use the media to essentially vilify everybody that doesn't fit the stat quo. And they do it to everybody. But they spend trillions of dollars picking on our people. And why do they have such disdain for our people? Why do they fear our people the most out of everybody? Because they're aware of their history and they're aware of our history. And they know in their heart of hearts that they could never exist if we never existed. Their sole existence was based on jealousy and fear of us. They were jealous about, how we carried and conducted ourselves, and how we had just by nature had a natural air of confidence. We were just naturally regal. We were just naturally omnipotent. Like, they despised us. They were so fearful and jealous of us that, they just started creating little systems and ways to, build power and make themselves feel important. So like that's why they spend all these thousands of dollars targeting our people with the media, trying to vilify and tarnish our images. Because like I said, they're natural historians. They're aware of our history and they're aware of theirs. And what our presence symbolizes to them is the end of their existence because of our natural, impactful nature. They got everybody, finessed into believing you need an excessively large amount of money to be happy. And we're just naturally charismatic. We're just naturally trending. There's we're just naturally cool. Everybody emulates us. Everybody tries to be like us, talk like us, walk like us, dress like us. And, and there's like only a handful of us that are super rich. So, for them, the elite society, that would symbolize, the end of their existence. Because once people put it together that like, hey, I don't need to, surround myself with status symbols. I don't need to spend money just because I have money. They'll no longer be elites. They'll just be normal. So their power, we represent their power being usurped. Because everybody wants to follow our, our example, how we live and conduct our lives. That's our true nature as a people. We're the the beings that are most connected to nature. So we don't need a lot to be happy. We don't need a lot to be sufficient. So like outside of that, their greatest fear is about our people is, we'll, put aside our differences as a people, because they keep us divided as a people with the media, but their biggest fear is we'll put aside our differences, unify, reclaim everything that they took and everything that they're currently taking from us, and do to them what they've done to us. And that's why they use the media to vilify our people, original people. And that's why I exist in this platform, is to, usurp that power by providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. But, another way we can reclaim our power is by putting out positive frames of reference. You responsibly utilizing our platforms to put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. It's not the end all be all solution, but it is a solution. Because at the end of the day, the media is just a business. And the first rule of business is supply and demand. They create content based on, the demand of the people. And the media has, shifted the demand for degeneracy onto our people. We used to be the most wholesome people in the world. But they use propaganda and, media influence to, put drugs on us, to put violence on us, to put degeneracy on us. But how we, shake it off is by putting out positive content. Therefore, they won't manufacture products to accommodate the things they think we want. They think we want to be represented, our images and our likenesses based on, what we're viewing online and what we're looking at online. They think we want to be represented as a gangbanger. They think they want us to be, they think we want to be represented as, thieves and murderers and, unsavory people on the male side of it. They think our women want to be, represented as whores and prostitutes or, emotionally unstable or overly aggressive or angry all the time. But we can take the power back just simply by posting positive content, simply by posting, us excelling and doing well in life and winning in life and, contributing to the human experience, doing something that will uplift and edify our communities and give back to the world. Essentially like capturing our, accomplishments and, just speaking life over us instead of, pointing out all the negative things we're doing all the time. So, that's a way we can win. But I think you're good and informed about my content. And if I left anything out, I'm nearly 400 episodes in. If you're still kind of gray, you can connect the dots on your own. But without any further ado, I'm going to jump on into the content. So this is the weekend edition of the Narrator Podcast. And on the weekend edition, I have it broken down into sections. Each section has a speaking point. And I definitely try to time each section. Excuse me, pardon me. But yeah, so diving right on into the content with the first section of the Narrative Podcast on the weekend edition is the highlight section. And in this section, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting businesses owned and operated by original people. And the reason why I'm highlighting businesses owned and operated by our people is because we don't have a lot of positive frames of reference about us, doing for ourselves and governing our own business. The very few frames of reference about, us being entrepreneurs are tainted by scripted reality television shows. The producers of those shows often intentionally catch us in ultra rare form for ratings. You know, they're always showing us fighting on camera, uh, you know, behaving badly on camera, overindulging in drugs and alcohol on camera, fornicating on camera, and just carrying on like nobody attempted to try to raise us. So, you know, the overall plot of these shows get drowned out by the producers' greedy motives. So, you know, because most of the participants on those shows are people from our community earning an upwards of 5 or 6 figures or better. So, like, people earning either 5 or 6 figures and have, you know, dozens of companies under their umbrella. Nobody sees that part. They just see a bunch of niggas on camera acting ignorant. That's what they see on these scripted reality television shows that negatively depict our images and our likenesses. So here with the highlight section, you know, I'm sidestepping that by walking you through an entrepreneur's journey about how they became a business proprietor. You know, I'm giving you their entire journey. I'm giving you a brief bio about the person that started the business, you know, telling where and how they grew up, what inspired them to want to start a business, how they start the business, if the information is available, like how they got their funding. You know, I'm walking you through the entire process of becoming an entrepreneur because, again, with the media constantly bombards us with all these negative images and have us, you know, believing that it's impossible to start your own business. Because many of the entrepreneurs that I cover in this section, a whole lot of them, you know, they don't have the proper means to start a business. They don't, you know, a lot of them aren't traditionally college taught. You know, they're self-taught. They just, you know, they researched whatever business they started. You know, they scrimped and scraped and didn't have a whole lot of money to start. They just stepped out on faith and just did it. And, you know, they achieved their goal. So that's what I'm presenting to the listening audience in the highlight section. So some other qualifying factors that I select the businesses to highlight in the highlight section is, you know, of course, they're owned and operated by original people. Of course, they hire their own, train their own, hire their own, and do some type of philanthropy in the community. They either have their own nonprofit organization or they pay into a nonprofit organization. And then lastly, they do some type of community outreach or activism, like they're involved in something, you know, giving back to the community. Like I said, either like they have their own nonprofit organization or they pay into a pre-existing nonprofit organization and provide services for the community that they are located in. And the last qualifying factor that I use to highlight the businesses that I highlight in the highlight section is that they line up with my theme. And so now that you know about it, I'm gonna dive right on into it. So my theme, what I've been doing lately is just like nationally recognized holidays. So this is the month of June. and June's almost coming to the close, but you know the theme for this particular day in June is actually a whole like month-long thing. It is the month of June is do-it-yourself marketing month. So, in commemoration of do-it-yourself marketing month, I will be highlighting marketing agencies owned and operated by original people. Now, typically I usually have 3 to 6, or anywhere from 3 to 6. It's usually like minimum 3, maximum 6. 6 on a good day, but like it's usually like 3, 4, 5. But today I just got 2, and today I got 2 because those are all the ones I came across. Those 2 interest me the most, reading the bio, how the business got started, and I felt, in my opinion, because it's my podcast, that aligns up with what I'm trying to, the overall theme that I'm trying to lay out for the listeners. So, the first business I'll be highlighting in the highlight section on this weekend edition of the Narrative Podcast is Goldita Creative. And Goldita Creative was established in 2018 by a brother by the name of Brian Taylor. Brian Taylor was born in Baltimore, Maryland. He grew up in the suburbs. His father played professional football. He was in the NFL. He also played college football. He was attending the HBCU in Virginia and played college ball. And so, he was always inspired to follow in his father's footsteps, to be an athlete, to make it to the league. So I think as far as he got, he played some college ball in the college that, he attended. And then midway through his journey, he had an epiphany. The light went off. He was like, wow, everybody that joins the league or plays ball in college don't go on to get drafted or make it to the NFL. So I better have me a fallback plan. So, that light went off earlier on in his career, his athletic career. And then the universe kind of helped bring his career path, has changed his career trajectory in life by suspending him in college. The article didn't say what he got suspended for. It just said he got suspended in college. And while he was suspended from college for like about a year, he took time off and started putting some plans in motion to start his own business. So he returned to college and refocused on business instead of trying to make it to the NFL. And that's essentially, how Goleta was born. So, and it's an interesting name as well. It has African descent. It didn't say a tribe in Africa like inspired that name. It means something. I forgot to take down what it meant in my notes, but you know, it was reflective of that. So what sets his business apart is that they focus on traffic integration, targeted conversions, and website design. They also specialize in pay-to-click ads. So, you know, it's consumer friendly. They have package bundles for whatever type of thing you're trying to do with your website. So like if you got a Facebook, if you're a content creator and you're trying to get your Facebook to pop, they got, you know, strategies to help you do that. You know, whatever digital media that you occupy, you know, they're there to help you, you know, basically monetize it and get paid. They also have tutorial classes when you go on the website that you can pay for. Webinars, I believe they're called. Yeah, they're called webinars. So they got a plethora of webinars that you can purchase to, you know, help you out with a strategy that will generate you some sales for whatever site you're on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok. You know, they got you. So the physical address is 1100 Wyckomo Street in Baltimore, Maryland, 21230, and the telephone number is 443-883-6679. And once again, that the name of the business is Goleta Creative, and the founder and chief strategy officer of this business is a Mr. Brian Taylor. So join me in giving Brian Taylor a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Goleta Creative. Oh yeah, and the site is Goleta.agency. All right, next order of business, moving right along. The next business I'll be highlighting in the highlight section is a business located in Chicago, Illinois. I'm sorry, I got that all wrong. Atlanta, Georgia, pardon me. I don't know why I said Chicago. A business located in Atlanta, Georgia. It was established in 2016 by a brother named Jamichael Mitchell. And the name of the business is called Bright. So right when you go to the website, which is erabright.co, you will see his entire bio. I perused the internet to try to get more in-depth details about Jamichael's journey into becoming an entrepreneur, but they didn't have anything. So like what's on the site is that's just basically it. So his bio on the site says he went to college in Fayetteville, Georgia, and earned a science degree in business management. And then he attended Full Sail University and earned a master's degree in science and internet marketing. And that's basically it. I like to, when I do these things, I like to try to give you their complete bio, where they went to school, how they came up with the idea of their business and all that. But sometimes the information is just simply not available. But like I said, it lines up with what I'm trying to do here in this section. So, it'll do. So basically what his marketing agency focuses on is SEO. So they focus on Google ads, Facebook ads, and meta ads. They also do web design. Now what sets them apart for all the other agencies is it's completely remote. So I don't know if it's a good thing, but it's completely remote. So basically all his employees are working from home. There is no office. There is a physical address, but there is no corporate office per se. It's all remotely done with remote employees. So yeah, the physical address for it is 384 North Yards Boulevard, Northwest Suite 190, Atlanta, Georgia. Telephone number 851 45 SEO. Or for SEO. So you got to spell SEO with your keypad. So it's 851-4SEO is the telephone number. And then you can go to the website and, they got a form that you click, the contact form. You fill out your personal information and what you're trying to do with your website or what you want to contact them for, which should be what you're trying to do with your your website or your social media page, and they'll help you come up with a strategy to optimize whatever platform that you occupy so it can make you some money. And once again, the name of the company is called Narrator. And the telephone number for that is 470-851-4SEO. And the email address is arabright.co. And the founder's name is a brother by the name of Jermichael Mitchell. So let's give it up for Jermichael Mitchell and the Arabright. All right, keeping it right, moving right along. Next section of the Narrator podcast is the spotlight section. In this section, what I'm doing is I'm spotlighting impactful people in the world that, utilize their platforms or their social media presence to uplift and edify, to impact our community in a positive way, whether they're doing some type of advocacy, whether they're doing, some type of philanthropy, or just speaking on our issues in interviews. Just something to uplift us and edify us in a positive and impact us in a positive way. The reason why I feel it's necessary to spotlight people is because, unfortunately, we have been programmed and conditioned to believe, to be relevant, to earn money, or to have any type of presence online, we have to be messy. We got to drag each other through the mud. We got to tell lies on each other. To basically have whatever you're doing pop. You got to get messy and dirty and grimy with it. And, that's just not true. You can stand 10 toes down and play the game the right way. But, for us to be messy towards one another, it's incentivized and pretty much endorsed and promoted by the powers that be to, incentivize us into messy behavior online for profit. But, so what I'm attempting to do in the spotlight section is just basically, or what I have done in the spotlight section is basically to create the healthy habit of, utilizing your utilizing your platform to say something nice about a brother or sister being impactful, or doing something to uplift and edify our community and make us look back, or make us look good instead of making us look bad. When I start the spotlight section, I typically just only spotlighted entertainers. Pardon me, I've been up. I guess I'm getting tired. It sounded like I've been drinking or something, like slurring, but I promise you I don't drink. It's just like, I don't know. I'm getting kind of tired, but anyway. Excuse me. So basically, what I want to do, or what I have done, is just put out the energy to utilize your platforms to congratulate a brother or sister for, their accomplishments and how they, influence all their followers and, all the good work they do. But in the past, I've just only spotlighted entertainers, such as, actors, actresses, comedians, recording artists, social media influencers, commentators, and, things of that nature. Religious figures. But what I've been trying to do lately is just spotlight normal people, because I don't want to, perpetuate the negative stereotype of, all we know how to do as a people is entertain. But I am kind of switching gears on that, because a lot of entertainers get a bad rap. You don't know about all the good they're doing, because all you see in the media is like when they're being carted off to jail, or engaging in messy behavior. Never know about all the good that they're doing. So I think I'm kind of I'm going to slowly start spotlighting entertainers again out of our community. Because so many of them have, they get a bad rap. Now this next person that I'll be spotlighting isn't an entertainer per se, but he definitely is a public figure. But before I spotlight this brother, I gotta just kind of toot my horn a little bit. I created the wave for spotlighting, and you can fact check it. Because before I added a spotlight section to my platform, the Narrator Podcast, nobody was spotlighting anybody. Now everybody that occupies some type of media outlet, every time they're interviewing a guest, every time they're featuring a product, like every time they're doing anything innovative, they'll often start with the phrase, today we'll be spotlighting this person if they're interviewing something, or if they're, trying to promote a product. They'll say, on today's spotlight, nobody would spotlight nothing until I added a spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrator Podcast. And as they say, imitation is the best form of flattery. So, all the people that are doing it, I'm definitely flattered by it. That lets me know people listen to my platform. Like, the internet makes the world really small. Like, people can legit admire your work from afar. And I know so many people, so many famous people are admiring my work from afar because they incorporate, my content into their content some type of way. All my, everything that I say, the way I say it, my vernacular, the way I speak, how I speak, the things I say on my, platform, they just dry incorporate it into theirs some type of way. Just let me know that they listen to me. It's not technically trolling per se. I don't know why I don't just come out and be like, yeah, I F with, Halsey Allen in the Narrator Podcast. For whatever reason, they don't just spot on endorse me. But, as the old saying goes, what's understood ain't gotta be explained. So a wink is as good as a nod. I'm not here for the acknowledgement or the compliments or nothing like that. But, I know when somebody's listening to me. But anyway, like I said, I created the way for spotlighting.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In a real way. All right. So without any further ado, I'll be unveiling the spotlights in the spotlight section of the Narrative Podcast on this weekend edition. So the spotlight goes to none other than motivational speaker extraordinaire, Mr. Eric Thompson. He has pretty much dominated social media with his brand of motivational speeches. So he does TED Talks. He, works with large Fortune 500 companies, motivating their employees. He also appears at hundreds to thousands of schools in the United States, speaking to school children and motivating them at all grade levels. And his approach just basically tells us, he had a really earnest upbringing, and he just basically tells, stories of his personal life. Stories about where he got tested and had to, search inside of himself to muster up some courage to, strengthen himself and to develop a resolve and wherewithal. So, how he can just project his voice like a whole lot of motivational speakers. A lot of them just do yelling. Like, they just, get up, do it now, And they just get up and they just yell at the camera. They're like, do it now. What you waiting on? Stop making excuses and da-da-da-da-da. But, they're never actually motivating you. They're just yelling. So, but that's not the case in his case. He actually has sustenance. He actually, he don't just, point out the problem. He actually, has a solution in mind. Some steps on how to get to the level that you need to get to, other than just, say, stop making excuses and you're the problem. Like, he actually has a systematic way to win behind his, stories and motivational speeches. So that's what he has over, like, all the other motivational speakers coming out of our community. What makes him so believable or makes him so credible is like he actually has a method to it. It's just not a whole bunch of yelling. He's also not afraid to show his vulnerability. In a whole lot of his motivational speeches, he breaks down and cries when he's talking about, his mother and how he was raised in the South and all that. But yeah. So like I said, he speaks at tons of schools, tons of Fortune 500 companies. He does TED Talks, all his social media platforms. He has, over 100,000 followers. So he's going viral. Every speech he drops goes viral. And he's just so impactful and believable and intentional, and actually, like, not only that, actually has a plan if, you're ready to receive it. Like, he actually has steps to get to the next level, not just telling you you need to get off your butt and get to the next level. So, and a lot of, motivational speakers, they're just like really capped. They don't got a plan. They're just, they just yelling like, yeah, do it now. Get up. What are you waiting on? Stop making excuses. Stop being a little punk. But yeah, like I said, he's down to earth. And another thing about his brand of motivational speaking is, he doesn't come from a place where he has all the answers. Many of his speeches, he says, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And I know this situation's here to test me. and I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna figure it out, and that's his brand. To not put pressure on you to have the answer, but just don't give up. His overall speech, his overall like methodology is just not to give up and inspire you not to give up by telling you about his life as a just telling the listeners about his experience growing up in Chicago. Like I said, he's a motivational speaker, author. He talks to these Fortune 500 companies, the youth. He talks to, he motivates NBA players, NFL players. He speaks at these big AME churches. I think he's a pastor too. So like, he just like, he wears a whole lot of hats. He didn't grow up with a silver spoon in his mouth, so he done had trials and tribulations. He done went through it, but overall he got a really good message, and he gives back with his story. That's the prime example why I'm choosing him to be the spotlight this week here on the Narrator podcast, because he's narrating his story, and by him narrating his own story, he's helping out, being impactful to millions of people within our community that need to hear that message, to get up, to overcome whatever they need to overcome, to face whatever they need to face, to hear that. So he's the he's the catalyst for that. So without any further ado, join me into giving our brother Eric Thompson a warm Narrative podcast round of applause. Then up next we have the health and wellness section. The health and wellness section is just what it sounds like. I'm giving tips about health and wellness. And why am I giving them tips about health and wellness? Because, our people, original people, we unfortunately struggle with that the most. Our people, original people, are also, out of everybody living here on this world, in this world, is, under attack. We're being attacked mentally, we're being attacked spiritually, we're being attacked emotionally, we're being attacked financially as well. But I don't give out financial advice because I believe health is wealth. However, I on the opposite side of that, if you're broke, there is a spiritual, something wrong with that if you don't ever have money. But anyway, said all that to say, the purpose of me, doing the health and wellness tips is to, basically fortify our people with knowledge, basically to help armor us up in all the areas that we're being attacked, with tips that will help prolong and sustain life and live life more abundantly. So yeah, Just basically, that's what the health wellness tips is about, to fortify us in all the areas that we're being attacked, which is mentally, physically, and spiritually. So examples of the types of tips I give in the health or wellness tips section of the Narrative Podcast, weekend edition, is basically like, for example, like physical. On the physical side, like it's usually like the health benefit of a vegetable, fruit, plant, herb extract, elixir that you can ingest or apply topically to improve your overall physical well-being, or some type of physical exercise you can perform to improve your physical well-being. On the mental side of it, something you can mental exercises you can perform to help improve your mental wellness. So, things you can do, incorporate a regimen in which you can promote a healthy way of lifestyle, a healthy thought process, mental clarity, and mental focus, such as mindfulness, mindful breathing, meditation, identifying, your past traumas, how to sift through them, how to heal yourself from past trauma, identifying your emotional triggers, all kinds of techniques that, put your mind at ease and make sound, emotionally intelligent decisions. And then on the spiritual side of it, because we are under spiritual attack as well as a people, it is spiritual warfare out here in these streets. Like, it's real. There's some dark forces all around us, and we need to be aware of that. So, I usually give tips and techniques to help you navigate and defend yourself from spiritual attacks. So yeah, I'm really thorough with it. But anyway, that's basically what I talk about in the health and wellness section of the Narrative Podcast. Small little disclaimer right quick before I unveil the health and wellness tip of the week this week. My podcast is for anybody that wants to listen to it, to keep an open mind and apply it and help themselves in whatever area that they need help in this section. But all my content on the Narrative Podcast, my primary direct demographic that I'm trying to relate to is original people. So, all my content is geared towards original people, but if you possess an open mind and you want to listen to the content to be more progressive and engage us and know of our people and know about our culture and just show that you cool, then you can definitely check out this content. But just know that all the content, everything I talk about, is usually geared towards original people. But out of all the content that's geared towards our people, this content in the health and wellness section is especially geared towards original people. And another thing I want to point out, the misnomer that we are all one, dogma, religion dogma that they just try to inflict on followers of Christianity, followers of Islam, followers of Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever ism. Like, it is, but then it's not true that we are all one. Like, variety is the spice of life. Everybody has unique differences. We're made different for a reason. We all have different genetic makeups, different physiology, different psychological triggers, different cultural behaviors. So in short, we're all different, and what strengthens one culture will weaken another culture if a different culture lived by that culture's stat quo. Like, so now we're not all one. Because if you go into any Christian church, any mosque, you will see the difference. Any Buddhist temple, you will see the difference. It'll vary from region to region, people to people. Like, just just look at black and white. And like, I don't mean to be always sound like I'm picking on Christians, but like in Christianity, you got all kinds of different denominations of Christianity. You have like Lutheran, Methodist, Episcopalian, Pentecostal, Mormon, and those have different distinct characteristics, and varies from region to region and neighborhood to neighborhood on how they view it and interpret it. But it's all coming out of the same book. Like, especially if you go into a black church and a white church and you look at their praise and worship segment of the church. So are we the same? We're all one, or are we different? You go and look at the artwork in the wall on a black church and a white church. How is Jesus depicted? Are we the same, or are we all one, or are we different? Like, we gotta quit straddling the fence. We're all different. So meaning we all have different constitutions. Things that will strengthen my anatomy will weaken your, anatomy, will weaken your genetic makeup. Case in point, like melanated people, like the sun strengthens us. It improves our skin. Our hair gets longer with the more we're exposed to it. Our skin gets better. Sicknesses and disease flee our bodies the more we're exposed to sunlight. Whereas, another people, when they get exposed to too much sunlight, they develop lesions and cancer, and they get sick. Their hair falls out. They get sunburned. So we're not all the same. So therefore, we have, different things that make us well, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So I'm talking about the things, the wellness tips that will improve the wellness of original people in the health and wellness section here on the Narrator Podcast. I just want to clear that up. And, let's dead this, we are all one. Well, we're all one. We're all one until some tragedy happens. We need to get over that, and celebrate the differences, acknowledge the differences, celebrate the differences, but don't fall into this "we are all one" dogma BS. God loves us all the same. But anyway, today's health and wellness tip is on the physical side of it. Today I'll be talking about the health benefits of bladderwrack. Bladderwrack is basically it's in the seaweed family. It's found along mostly in salt water. They have, it's like really hard to find in fresh water, but there is some. It's more like you have to go into like the Great Lakes to find some bladderwrack in fresh water, but it's primarily, in salt water. And it's loaded with medicinal properties. It helps fight weight loss. It has antioxidants, which equate to weight loss. So anything that has antioxidants in it burns fat, so you'll lose weight, of course. Bladderwrack also helps, battle fatigue. If you're constantly feeling weighed down, your energy levels is just feel drained, bladderwrack will boost your energy levels. Bladderwrack also improves healthy brain functions. It eliminates brain fog. It helps for people suffering from dementia. It improves like short-term and long-term memory. And it also improves heart health, skin, and healthy oral care. So like kind of has antibodies in it, so to keep your to kill germs in your mouth, keep your breath fresh and all that. Also, within women, it helps with the menstruation flow for women that are heavy bleeders. It'll help with that. It also has anti-inflammatory properties. It's good for heartburn, good for people that suffer from thyroids. It's good for battling indigestion, heartburn, wound care. It helps you heal wounds faster. So like if you injure yourself, cut yourself, which I probably need bladderwrack because I'm always scraping myself up some type of way. I don't know how. It also will, if you're a singer, it's really good for your vocal cords. It helps prevent a hoarse or a weak voice. It also regulates your hormones. So like in men, if you have an excessive buildup of estrogen, it will help get rid of any estrogen buildup in men and in women, any testosterone women might have. So it helped balance you out that way. And then it also helps with constipation as well. So if you're all bound up, so it helps with gut health. Help clean you out if you're blocked up. And then if you're suffering from diarrhea, it'll help alleviate diarrhea symptoms. So it's basically a superfood. Looks like it's more heavily focused on your digestion and brain function. So, definitely go get you some bladder rat in heavy rotation in your diet, in your herbs. And then as always, make sure it's coming from a reputable source, because there's just some really rotten people out there just to want to make a quick buck and will sell you an imitation anything. They'll grind up some pencil shavings and sell them to you. So you gotta check where you're getting your herbs from. Check and make sure it's legit. And there's all kinds of websites to verify, if your herbs are legitimate, like if they're, they're authentic. Where the source is coming from. You definitely don't want to get your herbs from sketchy spots, sketchy people. It's going to be expensive, of course. The real, official, like bladder rat, is going to run you anywhere from like $12 to $24 an ounce for some bladder rat. But what's your health worth? You spent just as much as that on alcohol, things that will harm you. You spent just as much money on marijuana, on stronger drugs for people to do stronger drugs, pills and heroin and cocaine. So why not invest in your health, something that's going to help you and breathe life into you. So yeah. Okay, moving right along. Speaking point of the day. So my speaking point of the day is basically like I'm covering current events, whether it's globally, nationally, or just something happening within our community. And the purpose of me doing that is to basically reclaim the narrative, because the media go out of its way to have us looking and sounding crazy. So like I do commentary on my weekday editions as well, but as you can see, it comes much later in the programming on my weekend section. But it's nothing really to talk about, nothing super duper that we need to talk about, other than the upcoming election in November. Well, scratch that. Lawmakers are starting to unveil all this legislation coming up before the election. They're trying to basically pass a law that will give states the opportunity to resurrect or to enforce old statutes and old laws. And by old, I mean like laws and statutes and I'm saying statutes, I mean ordinances. That was the word I mean. Old laws and ordinances that came out, in the Jim Crow era. That dates far back as the Jim Crow era, pardon me. So I don't even have to tell you about the ramifications, what that could potentially mean for our people. So, that's what they're doing in Congress. They're trying to basically bring Jim Crow back. They're trying to pass all these old laws and ordinances that were, created during the Jim Crow era. Like, they had a law called reckless eyeballing, where it was against the law to make eye contact with white people. They're trying to bring, laws reflective of that era back. So those same laws would most definitely suppress voter rights. Those laws and ordinance would also make it even more difficult to purchase homes and property. Those laws, if they go into effect, will also make it more difficult for us to be involved in like city affairs of the state, having a say so on city councils and Capitol Hill and just anything going on in the nation where you have to cast a ballot. Like we couldn't even go up to City Hall and address the floor if laws like that came back. But not like most of us do it anyway. Because some of us, we don't like to, do anything. We like to point out the problem, but not actually do anything. But, they're trying to bring that back. And how they sneak us in? How are they sneaking it past our radar? Because, they're using the media. They keep us busy with celebrity gossip and sports. And we forget to tune in to important stuff like that. So yeah, that's going on. And then did anybody see the I don't even want to call it a debate. This is just two guys trying to out I don't give a fuck contest. It's like who don't give the biggest fuck. They was literally having a zero fucks given contest. They was trying to out I don't care each other. Like Biden, he was just looking like he was having senior citizen moments. Not cognitive, not, engaging the questions at all. And then Trump, he's just he's rapid fire lying. I mean, all politicians are liars anyway, but Jesus Christ, wow. The lies he was telling. And it sucks because, like, that's all we have to choose from. Who's the latter? Because neither party still has anything in the legislation for our people. You know, reparations still ain't on the table on either side. So this puts us in an awkward position yet again. Which devil is the lesser devil? Or what is it though saying? What is the lesser of the two evils? Because whoever wins, we're kind of screwed. And it don't matter if you're grassroots. It don't matter if you're independent. Don't matter if you're Green Party. Don't matter if you're libertarian. This is like looking very grim. Because like they're trying to bring back Jim Crow laws. They're trying to bring back the draft. So that's how they was like really kind of, you know, getting rid of us too. They was sending us to jail, and those that didn't, when the jail was overpopulated, they was sending us abroad to fight for this country that does not care about us, that doesn't have anything for us in regards it into as like that will help improve our way of life. So that's just something to really think about. You gotta constantly pay attention to what's going on in the world. I know we hate reading the news paper. We hate like watching the news. We hate, you know, watching these super boring cabinet meetings. But like you have to. In the world we're living in, you have to pay attention to that stuff. Because if you don't, they'll sneak something past you and you'll be like, dang, well, when did that happen? Probably when you was online trying to get by the new Jays. Probably when you was in the club. Probably when you was sitting up there on social media and trying to slide in somebody's DMs. Probably when you was capping on the gram. Probably when you was trying to sound intelligent in the comment section of somebody else's social media platform. That's probably when they slipped that legislation past you. Or the biggest thing is when you're on social media slandering your own kind. That's when they really get you. 'Cause we be so caught up trying to drag each other through the mud. We forget it's an all-out war against us by the you-know-whos, and they get us every time. So, you know, we just have to be more vigilant and paying attention about what's going on in Congress and legislation. I know it's extremely boring to watch and listen to, but it's very important. So, make time to do that. Make time to stay informed. Make time to stay in the loop about what's going on in this country, even though you may not consider yourself a U.S. citizen, even though you hate this country, because this country hates you. It has done nothing for you, doesn't love you. I get it, but we still got to pay attention to what's going on in it at all times. As long as we're on this soil, it should never be a day where you're not picking up a newspaper, not looking at what's going on in the Senate, in the Congress, or what's going on locally in your own cabinet meetings, public sector meetings. You need to always monitor that, so they don't slip nothing by you. All right, that's all I got for current news. And now we're at the end of this thing, and my final section is my wise word of the day. So my wise word of the day on this weekend edition of the Narrative Podcast is discernment. Discernment means just basically to be able to tell what's for you and what's not for you. And then I kind of got a little bar. You should be able to discern true concern. Because a lot of people be acting like they're concerned about you, but they're really not. They really are harboring resentment towards you. They really hope you fail, but they're trying to mask it with concern. And so what you have to do is you have to discern whether the concern that's being, shown towards you is actually, they're really worried about you, they're really trying to help you. The sentiment is authentic, or are they harboring some type of malice towards you? Because a lot of times, like, stop me if you heard about this one, you'll be out and about, and then somebody said, oh, I seen so-and-so asked about you. And then you'd be back in your head like, oh yeah? So you got to discern, for the person that ran up to you and told you they had met somebody that asked about you, like, what was the conversation like? Because don't so-and-so have your telephone number, but yet they don't call you. They don't call your phone to speak to you. But every time you seeing people, like when you do, like when you're out and about and you see other people and they're telling you like, oh yeah, I seen so-and-so and so-and-so asked about you. And you're just thinking in the back of your mind, well, so-and-so got my number, but they don't never want to talk. They want to do the call me on Facebook. They want to, they want to just, like you can call people's phone number on Facebook. They want to call you from Facebook, but they don't want to give you their number. You know what I'm saying? They want to DM you on the gram or whatever, but they don't actually want to speak to you. So is that legitimate concern, or is that just so-and-so being nosy? Is that so-and-so just hoping for your downfall, hoping that you're not doing good, praying for your downfall? Because if they have a means in which to communicate with you, but they don't never exert that proper means to communicate with you. They only want to, give you false sentiment, only want to reach out on you on your born day. You live in the same city, you live in the same state. Every time you leave your residence, you're seeing somebody in the street and saying so-and-so has asked about you, and they, so-and-so asked about you. You got to really just reassess that. You got to evaluate that. Is so-and-so asking about me because they're really concerned about me? They really want to help me? They really want to see me doing well in life? Or is so-and-so secretly my ops? Is so-and-so really trying to plot on my downfall? Because so-and-so knows how to get in touch with you if they wanted to. They know where you be when you used to hang out with them. You haven't changed too much. Your circle hasn't changed too much. They know how to get a hold of you if they're really interested in talking to you. So you have to just discern who's concerned about you, who's really has authentic concern for you, and who's just being nosy. And 9 times out of 10, the person that's coming up on you and saying so-and-so asked about you, they're in cahoots with so-and-so. Talking and gossiping and lying on you. Calling your names behind your back. So, wise word of the day, discernment. You have to discern genuine concern from fake concern. All right. So that's it and that's all. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Narrator Podcast. Join me again next weekend for another full episode of the Narrator Podcast. And remember to keep your ear to the ground for all future weekday episodes of the Narrator Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. Remember to download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator Podcast. That's it and that's all. The best way to tune into my podcast during the weekday is to follow me on YouTube or on X, because this medium that I'm broadcasting on broadcasts directly to YouTube and X, and I'm Halsey Allen on YouTube. I'm Halsey Allen on X, formerly Twitter. Like I said, this medium that I'm on broadcasts directly to X and YouTube. Immediately, as soon as I conclude the broadcast, it automatically uploads to YouTube and X. So that's the best way to stay current with my most recent episode of the Narrator Podcast. To follow me on either of those two platforms, and you will be informed. So on YouTube, follow me, Halsey Allen 8. I don't know, it says Halsey Allen and then it has a little 8 on the thing. But yeah, that's my username on YouTube, and it's just my viewer channel. I don't have a exclusive channel just for the Narrator Podcast, but if you go on my user channel and go onto my videos, you will see every single, last episode of the Narrator Podcast. So, follow me on YouTube, and you'll be up to date with the most recent episode of the Narrator Podcast. So when you follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel and click notification all, and you will be informed about the latest episode of the Narrator Podcast. Or follow me on X, and I'm Halsey Allen on X. I'm still not proficient with using X or communicating and navigating and networking on X, but you know, maybe I get the hang of it eventually this year. But yeah, if you know, for all intents and purposes, also follow me on X, Halsey Allen. I stay good on at Halsey Allen on X, and you'll be well notified about the most recent upload of the Narrative Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. And remember to download this episode and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast, and that's how you help the podcast grow. You'll help me, you know, keep on broadcasting, eventually have guests to interview, and just level up on the podcast scene by downloading this episode and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. Now for the downloading of the podcast, I would say follow me on X, because you click the link on X and you'll see just like what you need to do. You'll see the download button. You'll see the little heart-shaped like button. You need to click that. Click the download button, which is like a little arrow pointing down. The heart-shaped like button, and then also a comment section on that. Leave me a little comment. Comment anything you like, anything you don't like, but leave me a comment. And that helps with the algorithm. The more stuff you do, the more actions you take, the more clicks or whatever. So remember to do all those things. Download, click the heart-shaped like button to leave a comment, and then of course click the three little bubbles and share them to all, you know, social media platforms. But yeah, do that. Download this episode and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. Follow me on YouTube or X for the most recent uploads of the Narrative Podcast. And then also check out my book of poetry. I'm working on another one. That's why I'm uploading so late. But check out my current book of poetry I have out on poetizer.com. It's titled The Black Card. The Black Card is basically a 30-page book of poetry. It's an all-comprehensive, all-encompassing look at us as a people, original people, everything we experience as a people, positive and negative. It's basically a snapshot of us as a people, everything we go through, everything we experience in life. You know, all our unspoken bonds, all our misnomers, everything you need to know about us as a people. Go check that out, the Narrative Podcast. Yeah, so check me out. So like I said, the Black Card is a 30-page book of poetry available on poetizer.com. If you're unfamiliar with poetizer.com, what that is an online writing community for writers, especially those that like to write poetry. You can go check those out. They have their own online bookstore for people that are active members of that community. What they have is a feature that will enable people that participate in that community to turn their work into a book. And so that's what I did with my work on there, and you know, transformed it into a book of poetry. And it's titled The Black Card. So go to poetizer.com inside their virtual online bookstore and purchase my book, The Black Card, written by me, Halsey Allen, or get your Black Card revoked. Also check out my personal poetry blog on blogger.com is titled Hawes' Poetry Corner. The tagline for that is poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. And when you read one of my poems, you'll find out just why, because they're that impactful, they're that versatile. The unique thing about the poems featured on that blog is that they're all spontaneously written in the moment. And the unique thing about that is they're so intricate, so detailed, and so specific. You would be under the impression that I wrote them beforehand, before I posted them up on there, but that's just the contrary. I wrote all those poems on that blog spontaneously in the moment. Like, I wasn't giving any thought to the title or the subject matter. I typed it, and that's what it was. So, like, it's comparable to like a freestyle rap or like a spoken word poem. So, like, except the difference is, of course, I wrote it instead of performed it. But yeah, it's just that spontaneous. And, you know, the poem on the poetry featured on that blog, you know, anybody can enjoy it from any walk of life. I have a lot of poems specifically for, you know, our people, but, you know, for the most part, you know, it's for anybody to read. Anybody can get a connection from it. Anybody can relate to it. It's relatable poetry. You'll definitely enjoy it. So to read that, to read poems featured on my poetry blog, just simply head on over to Hawes' Poetry Corner at www.mrhawesblogs.com and, you know, read them. And then, of course, for the algorithm, hit the heart-shaped like button. Leave me a comment after you get there on the site. And definitely share. The best way to help me is to share either the link to Hawes' Poetry Corner, which is www.mrhawesblogs.com, or share a poem featured on Hawes' Poetry Corner across all social media platforms, digital media platforms, whatever platform you're, you know, the most active on. Share either the link or a poem featured on Hawes' Poetry Corner. So that's all I got for you. Thank you all for tuning in, listening, and supporting. And I'm getting back. You know, I'm getting my legs back. I had taken a little hiatus. I'm back. I'll be posting a more normal time set. I think it's officially Sunday now, but this is a weekend edition of the Narrator Podcast. I think probably later on today I'll give you another episode of the Narrator Podcast, except in weekday format. So I'll give you a bonus. It'll be like you're getting 2 episodes today, because I'm gonna post this, you know, this weekend edition, and then I'm gonna do a weekday, another upload, but I'm gonna do it in a weekday format on Sunday. So, and then I'm gonna hit you with some more during the weekday, and then another full episode this weekend. And they'll most definitely be at, you know, a more sensible time, like should be like uploaded 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. at the very latest, not at midnight and 10 and 11, none of that. So, like I said, I'm getting my wings back. Thank you all for supporting and checking out the show, and you know, giving me enough resources to keep this show moving. But yeah, that's it, and that's all. tune in again next week for a full episode of the Narrative Podcast, and all throughout the weekday for weekday episodes of the Narrative Podcast. I'm Halsey Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time, and I'm asking you to help me on my mission to change the narrative by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time on my end, as a narrator, you can help me change the narrative one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen in the Narrative Podcast, signing off, and it's like that.
Listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.